So, if you've ever tried to build an AI app, you know exactly what I'm talking about, right? You're just wrestling with APIs, trying to manage state, writing all this logic for tool use, and you end up spending way more time on the plumbing than on the actual product. Well, OpenAI's new Agents SDK is here to fix exactly that. Let's dive in and see if it can really change the game.
Yeah, this question, it just hits home, doesn't it? Tired of duct-taping agents together? We've all been there. You're trying to glue together a large language model, your own custom tools, maybe some safety checks. You're just trying to make it work reliably in production. And let's be honest, it's messy. It's a massive time sink.
All right, so here's the plan. We're going to break it all down. We'll start with why this thing even exists. Then we'll get into the core mental model, the stuff you really need to know. We'll see it in action, compare it to some other frameworks out there, and wrap up with a blueprint so you can hit the ground running.
Okay, Section 1. Beyond duct-taped agents. Let's really get into why this SDK matters. I mean, what is it, and why should you care about it right now?
So at its heart, the Agents SDK is a lightweight framework. And those are the key words you need to remember: lightweight and minimal abstractions. This thing isn't trying to reinvent the wheel or lock you into some crazy complex system. It's designed to give you just enough structure to build really powerful agent apps without getting in your way. And get this, it's provider-agnostic. That means you're not locked into just OpenAI models. You can use it with over 100 others through LiteLLM. That's huge.
And this is where it gets really good. Look at what you get right out of the box. That whole agent loop for calling tools and handling multi-turn conversations, done for you. Guardrails for input and output checks, yep, built in. Sessions, so your agent actually remembers the conversation, you got it. Easy ways to add tools, and even a tracing dashboard for debugging. I mean, this is all the boilerplate that used to take us days to write from scratch, and now it's just there.
All right, moving on. Now, if you only pay attention to one part of this whole breakdown, make it this one. The entire SDK is built on 5 super simple but really powerful ideas, or primitives. Getting this mental model down is the absolute key to using this thing effectively.
So let's just quickly run through them. First, you have agents. That's basically just your LLM with some instructions and a set of tools. Next, the tools themselves. These can be hosted services or your own Python functions. Then there are handoffs, which is a cool way to pass control from one specialized agent to another. Guardrails, that's your safety net for validating inputs and outputs. And finally, sessions, which let the agent remember the conversation history with zero extra work from you. That's it. That's the whole model. It sounds simple, and it is, but man, when you combine these, it's incredibly powerful.
Okay, theory is one thing, but let's see how this stuff actually works in the real world. It's time to go from concepts to some practical, copy-paste ready patterns.
So let's start with a classic use case, the billing assistant. The goal here is simple, but it's something almost every business needs. We want an agent that can securely dip into our internal functions, to check a user's account balance or something, and give a safe, accurate answer.
And this is what I love about the SDK's design. To turn your own Python code into a tool the agent can use, you just add a simple decorator at function_tool. No writing a bunch of complex classes. You want the output to be safe and predictable? Just use a Pydantic model. And for security, like checking user permissions, you just pass some context. See? These are clean, modern Python patterns that you probably already use, not some weird proprietary framework language.
Okay, next use case, proactive guardrails. This is the big one. How do you stop bad inputs before they even hit an expensive model call? And how do you block bad outputs, like preventing the agent from accidentally leaking sensitive info? Well, that's exactly what guardrails are for.
And just like with tools, the implementation is so elegant and simple. A guardrail is just a function with a decorator. You attach it to an agent as either an input guardrail or an output guardrail. If your check fails, say it finds PII in the output, it triggers what they call a tripwire exception, and the whole run just halts. It's cheap, it's effective, and crucially, it can stop a bad request before you waste money on an expensive model call. That's a huge win.
So now we know how the SDK works, but the million-dollar question for a lot of teams is, when should you use it? How does it compare to other big names out there like LangGraph, CrewAI, or PydanticAI? Let's get into it.
This table gives a really nice breakdown. You should probably go with the Agents SDK if what you really want is simplicity and solid defaults. But if you're the kind of person who thinks in explicit graphs and flowcharts, then LangGraph might feel more natural to you. If your idea is more about creating crews of role-playing agents, then yeah, CrewAI is probably your jam. And if your team lives and breathes Pydantic and typed development, then PydanticAI is a no-brainer.
So here's the quick rule of thumb, really. Just pick the framework that matches your mental model. There's no single best tool for everyone. The right one is the one that clicks with how you think about the problem. Don't fight it. Go with what feels natural.
All right, we're in the home stretch. Let's wrap this up with your implementation blueprint. Think of this as real-world tips and the key takeaways you can start using today.
Here's your checklist for doing this right. 1. Type your outputs with Pydantic. It'll save you from so many headaches. 2. Implement guardrails from day 1. Don't make it an afterthought. 3. Use sessions for any conversation that needs to remember things. It's just easier. 4. Keep your business logic separate from your LLM configuration. That's just good design. 5. Stream your responses wherever you can, especially for user-facing stuff. And last but not least, be privacy conscious by default, always.
So if you forget everything else, just remember these 4 key takeaways. First, this is all about less plumbing, more product. Second, guardrails plus typed outputs, that's your recipe for reliability. Third, sessions are basically free wins for managing context, so just use them. And fourth, the SDK gives you great defaults right out of the gate, but it's still flexible enough to let you get creative when you need to.
And that really brings us to the final question I want to leave you with. Your agent orchestration is probably complex right now, but does it need to be? So often, we build complicated systems just because our tools push us in that direction. The whole promise of this SDK is a return to simplicity. So yeah, take a hard look at your current setup and ask yourself that question. Does it really need to be this complicated?